Okay, welcome back to the Shine podcast. I am your host, Marlon, and this is a space where we have real conversations about neurodivergence, about community, about what actually looks like to be in that environment and live environment and thrive with someone whose brain works a bit differently. Today's guest spent 10 years in the creative industries, navigating ADHD before turning that experience into something powerful. She's now a certified ADHD coach, helping creatives and neurodivergent professionals find structure, finish their work, and stop burning out. And she's done all of that through lived experience, not just textbook. So please welcome Desi. How you doing?
Hi, I'm great. Slightly excited, but
Yeah,
I think it's quite normal.
yeah, that's good. How has your week been?
Mental, like
Mental.
I mean, I think this is the type of normal for me. It's either like high peak, like very mental, very busy, a lot to do, and then very quiet and nothing is happening, and then again. Um, but I guess typical ADHD.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like two different extremes you can get. You can either be really busy or just nothing at all. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay.
and because we started talking about this, I wanted to write an article about different ways of how you can handle your workload and workflow and all that stuff. And I'm always divided between, do we progress 1% every day, or do we work as we usually do for 2, 3 days and then we crash for another four?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm working on figuring out what's work best for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so before we begin, for anyone who doesn't know you yet, just tell us a little bit more about you, who you are, what you do.
So my name is Desislava Todorova. I am a freelance filmmaker, photographer, prop maker, carpenter, ADHD coach, and in general a creative, like with a lot of different hobbies and different experiences. So
Wow.
that's me in a nutshell.
Wow. That's a lot of things. That's a do you think that you achieve your optimum level in all those different fields? Or do you feel like, because I do a few different things and sometimes I don't feel I'm given enough to, so I do mentoring and then I do the games club and then I do videos, but sometimes I feel like I don't give 100% to all because I'm spreading myself everywhere. Do you have that issue, or do you give 100% to everything? You reckon?
Mm, it's it's different for what is the thing we're talking about, how passionate I'm about it. And I know it sounds like I try to keep my work ethic high, and I try to like give the same amount of energy for everything that I do.
Hmm.
But there are projects that I'm like, I'm not that interested in it. So I don't feel like I'm like I want to invest all of my energy and my like attention into it.
Right.
And there are other projects that I'm so passionate about it, and I'm not gonna give only 100. I'm gonna give 200, like out of me, and I will take it to the highest level possible that I can achieve. Or if someone achieved, and this is like they achieve some sort of level, and I'm like, no, I can do better.
Yeah.
I know that it can be done better, so I'm gonna do better. Does that
Interesting.
make sense?
Yeah, that
Well, I
does.
think what you're saying is like spreading your energy through too many projects.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have this problem occasionally because I never work on one project only. I would always have a few projects on the go. I managed to narrow them down the last year, so I had a time of me sitting down and be like, okay, what do we want to keep? Like, what is the thing that we want to take and keep it for life? And what are the projects that are not viable anymore? They don't serve us. we need to get rid of this. We don't need to spill any more energy into it.
Right.
So it's kind of like you have to give yourself a little bit of time for revision. So step back, get your energy back, draw your energy back to yourself, and be like, okay, what is the main goal? Like, what am I doing? What are my top priorities? What's my top priority project? What is a hobby? What's my business? What is my like personal interest? I know it sounds like once you put them in categories, it kind of helps you to navigate how much energy you want to put into it, and it kind of keeps you stay sane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes because we don't, it's unconscious, but sometimes we get drawn to someone else's energy. I recently started working on a project, and there was a really lovely girl I met, and she had this energy talking about this project, and suddenly I was talking about the project as well, and I wanted to get involved, and I was like, yeah, we can do this and that, and then I was like, oh wait, no, 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 like this is your energy, like this is your excitement. I don't have to get involved in your like project. I don't like, I can appreciate you and your project. It's a really good idea, but I don't have to be like involved necessarily.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's distance ourselves. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, yeah, that does. I've done that many times where you think something's a great idea and you're so enthusiastic about it and collaborating about it, but it's not practical. And I think the next day you sort of wake up and you think, oh, actually, I promised all these sort of things and collaboration and getting into it, but looking down, it's not really going to serve me practically because it'd be either too much work or just the right direction. So now
yeah.
getting that point where I'm like, oh, I've promised all these things. Now I've got to go back and say no to some of them. Like, why do I not just think about it then and there? Why do it always feels like a great idea at the time? And then the next day, it's just like, ooh, there's this issue, there's that issue. And yeah, I do that all the time.
I've recently listened to a snip of an interview with Trevor Noah. Do you know who that is?
That sounds very familiar. Trevor Noah.
He's a comedian, stand-up
Oh
comedian.
yes, yes, yeah, 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 yeah. I know him. Yeah, yeah. Is he South
Yeah,
African? South
yeah,
African guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So yeah, so it was just a piece of like of his interview, or I think it's maybe from his podcast. But because I found that he's also neurodiverse, he was saying you start with a no, and then you tell to the person that you will come back to, like you will come back to it, and you will give them an answer like later on.
yeah. That's
Yes.
cool. That's exciting to even hear that. That's good advice. So just from the get go, say so you don't say, "Oh, let me think about it." You just say no.
Yeah, you just like, and occasionally I practice it. I will be like, I don't think this is a good fit for me, or no, I don't think I'm able to do it, or I'm not sure that if I would have the time for it. But if anything changes, I will let you know. Oh, let me see my schedule for the upcoming week, or let me have a look what's in my plans for the next month. And if I think that I can, I will come back to you. And people are very like, "Oh yeah, sure." I've never like got like an angry feedback or attitude or anything like that. They're like, "Oh yeah, sure, take your time and come back to me," and that's great because then I can come home and I can see like my schedule and my planning, and I'm like, Actually, I don't have the time for it.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't have the energy or I don't have the time. It's not my top priority. If anything changes and I get to have the free time, I'm happy to help.
Yeah.
But it's like, no.
Interesting. So you've adopted this now, and it's working for you. Would
Yeah.
you? Right. Okay. Okay. That's really good advice. Actually, that's something that I'm actually I'll look to start implementing because I sometimes most of the time I say it seems like a good idea, and I just say yeah, and then it doesn't. So maybe to stop is implement the no or let me get back to you, not sure, but let me get back to you. So it gives you a buffer. So you've got time to think about it and think, yeah, you know what, nah. And then you're not disappointing that person because you haven't promised them anything.
Yeah.
You haven't promised them a yes. So yeah, that's good advice. Let me ask you a question. So can you tell me about your own neurodivergent journey? Like, what eventually led you to work, to work in that field today?
Well, so it's a bit. So the reason I ended up being who I am today is the fact that I'm neurodiverse, but I didn't know that. And I believe that if I knew that earlier, my life would be very different. So I found out that I am neurodiverse. It's year and a half now. I think when I got a little bit more, maybe when I got officially my diagnosis and I had an appointment. And the guy was like, "Oh yeah, I can put my diploma down that you have ADHD." And I was like, "Oh, thank you, really kind." But the whole journey started maybe 2 years ago. No, I'm lying. So it's very confusing because when you're growing up and you experience life, and everyone has different childhoods, different family dynamic, different experience through life, trauma, and all that stuff. And I always felt like I'm different. I always knew that I don't operate in the same way like other people. And I always tried to fit in. I always tried to make a way, make it work. Like
Right.
I didn't know that's masking. Like I didn't have the vocabulary or the terminology about like masking and people pleasing and survival mode and all that. You just do it naturally. You see the environment, you see how people behave, and you try to copy that in order to fit in. Otherwise, you would be always the outsider.
Mm.
So, but growing up, I thought that it's like I'm just being different, or this is caused by my childhood trauma experiences and all that stuff. And I'll always be living in a circle of starting over again. It's like you start something, you cannot finish it, and then you drop it, and then you start something new, and then you don't finish it, and it's like this is starting over and over and over again through your whole life. It kind of exhausts you.
Hmm.
And I was like, maybe it's time for me to seek therapist. I was at that point, and I was like, I'm tired. I'm so exhausted. I'm tired. I'm done with this. I want to have structure. I want to work out through like my problems, my trauma, or whatever whatever is happening in my head, and I'm not aware of it. Like I want to work it out so I can have like a normal life.
Yeah.
But then I started like seeing therapists, and we went through like all of my traumas, like all of my experience. We work out quite a lot of like of the things that you're aware of it, but you're not aware of it.
Yeah.
It's like you know about it, but like knowing about it doesn't make it go. You have to actually put the work in.
Just a question actually. With the therapist part, did you seek the therapist because you were unhappy? You didn't. Is that the reason why you went to therapy?
I went to therapy because I wanted to break the cycle.
Okay.
I
Okay.
wanted to break the cycle of me being like inconsistent. I wanted to break the cycle of never finishing anything.
Okay.
And yeah, because I was tired, and I just, when you self-sabotage and you're doing it, but you can't stop doing it. And I was like, I was sitting one day and I was like, this is mental.
How are you self sabotaging?
Procrastinating,
Right.
not doing the things that I know that I have to do, like diet, exercising, uh, having a better sleep schedule. Like these are all the things that I know that they make me feel good. They they're helping me in whatever area in my life to succeed. They made like my energy levels are better, my concentration, my focus, my motivation, like everything is better. And I know that.
Yeah.
And you're like still in bed, doom scrolling or doing nothing or waiting for last minute to everything fall apart so you can save the day.
Yeah, when I do that, I'm not sure the day gets saved, but I do definitely wait for the last minute at times.
And
I think a lot of people do this. What you're saying, it's not isolated by. I don't think it's just neurodivergent individuals that do that. I think it's neurotypical as well. The amount of people that just they procrastinate. It's like the fear of doing the thing they need to do. So they hope they put it off. They come up with an excuse. They doom scroll. I think that's a wider thing actually, because the amount of people.
there are a lot of levels of procrastination. And this is like opening another like different topic, but the problem with ADHD and being hard to diagnose is because overlaps with so many other things. Like you would consider it normal person behavior. As you said, a lot of people are procrastinating or being lazy. But what is happening in their brain and what is happening in the brain of a neurodiverse like people, it's a completely different story. For like neurodiverse people, it's like I want to do the thing, but I just cannot get up and do it. And you're like, but I know that I have to, and I realize that I'm not doing the thing that I want, like I have to do.
Mm,
But equally, I can't make my body just start moving.
right.
And it's like for normal people, it sounds really bizarre. They're like, no, you're just lazy. And I'm like, no, I'm not lazy because I have the energy of like three different people. Like once I'm working, like I have the energy for like three people. Once I'm passionate about something, I'm unstoppable. There's no such thing like, oh, I need to sleep or I need to rest. Like it's a go, go, go.
Mm. That's that's
Um,
that's a good superpower to have. That's
yeah.
that yeah, unstoppable nature. But with that, does it? Are you saying that sometimes it dies out when you want to do something else with your because of your ADHD? You go into something else, and that unstoppable nature for that thing you were doing stops. Is that what you're saying?
Sorry, say this again. Like,
So you know that unstoppable nature you talk about that. So you
yeah.
for a certain task, nothing can get in your way. Does that stop if your ADHD kicks in and all of a sudden you don't want to do that particular task anymore? You don't
Yeah,
think
it's done. It's done. Like
right,
there's nothing on earth that can make me move. There is nothing in on earth that once the spark, this is the part that I hate the most. Like once the spark is gone, once I lost my interest, there is nothing on earth that will motivate me to get up and do whatever. Like if like I'm using a lot of willpower and self-awareness to get up and complete the stuff that I've started because I've learned through like life and experience that I'm gonna start something and I will never finish it. And if I'm not conscious about it's just gonna stay like this. It will stay unfinished.
right, right? Going back to your diagnosis,
Yeah.
this is interesting because I tried to get because I pretty much felt the same as you felt. Like I was trying to get along, go along to get along, try to fit in. I remember at school trying to be with the cool kids because that was what was seen as cool. But I liked being with the geeks and those self
Yeah.
geeks and stuff like that. But then I knew, and I was trying to fit in, and I never knew where I stood actually, and it was actually very tiring. And so I always knew that there was something different about me, and I a few years ago tried to get a diagnosis, but in the UK, getting a diagnosis is like going to the GP. The waiting list was like he was telling me years. So then if you're doing it private, it's very expensive. Like, can you tell me a bit about your diagnosis process? So how long did it take for you? And where did you get it done?
I have it done in Bulgaria. So yeah, after I started, sorry, I'm gonna go backward a
Go where
bit.
you want. Yeah, go where you want.
So when I started like therapy, as I said, I've worked out quite a lot of the things through therapy, and I started feeling better. But again, it didn't solve the problem. Like it didn't help in the way that I was hoping it will. And at some point, although I was seeing therapists, I was in a relationship, I had the dream job, I had everything, and I was still miserable. I couldn't get up in the morning from bed. I would struggle to get up and go to work. And I know about myself the moment I start being late for work. This is very untypical for me. If I have something to show up for, I'm very punctual. Like I might be late sometimes, but I would always like get up. It doesn't matter. I might have like slept for 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever, but I would always get up and show up for work.
Yeah.
So the moment I start struggling to get up for work, I know that things are not great because even that cannot motivate me to get up and go. So everything was like, although I had all the all the pluses, I would say, all the benefits that a normal person would thrive with, everything for me was going downhill. I was tired, depressed. I would come back from work and I would shove my face with a lot of carbs and comfort food. And I don't want to talk with anyone. I just wanted to be like in the corner by myself and watching
Yeah.
TV and just disappear. And then I will get up, go to work. And I had moments when I would be at work and I just want to start crying for like, I have no reason. Like, literally, I have no reason. But inside in me, I was dying. I just wanted to pack my stuff and leave.
Mm.
And I was like, "This is mental." And this is the most ridiculous part. You know, you're aware of it. Like you see this happening. You're aware of like how you feel, like how does it look like, and that there's no reason to feel the way you feel, but you can't change it. And I was like, I'm going mental. Like I don't know what's happening with me. And I started like looking for answers. And I was like, okay, what am I doing when I'm happy? Like what is my behavior when I'm like most successful, happy, and all that stuff? So I was like, okay, low carb diet, going to the gym, meditation, journaling. And I was like, well, I'm not doing any of that. And I cut carbs, I cut sugar for a month. I started going to the gym, started journaling, and all that stuff. And it helped to a certain point, but it didn't, again, resolve the problem. And I was like, I was like, okay, I'm going crazy. I don't know what's happening with me. I never felt like this. I need an answer. I'm gonna mention Mel Robbins. A lot of people love her, and
Oh, I
I
love
was
Mel Robbins. Oh, I love her 5 second rule. I love that.
Yeah, actually, it works. I
It
mean,
works.
I'm using something else. Then I found out about the 5 second rules. But yeah, I was listening to a Mel Robbins episode, and she started talking about her experience and how she felt through life and blah blah. And I was like, this sounds like me. And the more she like talked, I was like, oh my gosh, this is unreal. This is my life. Like this is my whole life. I don't get it. How is this possible? And then she started talking about the ADHD diagnosis, and I was like, yeah, but I'm not fidgeting. I'm not energetic. I'm not this and that. Like, when you see Instagram reels about people joking about ADHD, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. That's so funny. But then you ignore it and you move on. And because in my knowledge, what I knew about ADHD was like all the external signs, which are assigned to boys, being very loud, being very energetic, aggressive or snappy and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm none of that. So I don't think I have it. And then I heard, like, I've listened to the podcast, and she was explaining that actually it's very different between like male and female, and female like to internalize, and they have this ruminating and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And I started digging into it, and the more I learn about it, the more it made sense. And there are a lot of free online tests, but I found a paid one from a clinic in Bulgaria, and I was like, it's it's not gonna hurt.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna finish the test. Let's see the results, and then I got the results, and I was like, okay, now at least I know. And but what now? I
Yeah.
was like, okay, what from now on? Like, what does that gives me? What does that mean?
Mm.
So I booked an appointment with a psychiatrist and we had a chat. The only downside is like they immediately prescribe you meds and they're like, here you go, these are the meds. Take them for X amount of days and we're gonna speak in a month. I was like, wait, what? Like, I was like, is that it? Like, and I was like, okay, I don't want to take meds. Like, I don't want to start from the very beginning with meds. So I started looking for other options of how you can manage it naturally through diet, exercise, supplements, and everything else that's out there, like different stimulants, because basically your brain needs a stimulant. So everyone has different stimulants that works best for their chemistry and their brain. Uh, so yeah, I tried different stuff. Some of them works, some of them not. I try meds as well, but I don't think it's this is like the magic pill everyone
Yeah.
thinks it is. Like
What were the
some
things that
people,
worked? Sorry.
sorry.
What were the things that worked?
For me personally, and again, what I'm saying personally, because for different people, different things works. So I can say that I know it's extensive, but the 5K run or around 2 hours workout in the gym have the same effect with taking my meds.
Mm.
So I kind of feel like the same. There's a slight difference, but I kind of feel the same way as once I'm done with my workout, my brain is so clear. I'm so focused. I can do everything. Like it's a completely different animal.
Right, right.
And then a low carb diet. Um, Unfortunately, like I've heard that chocolate is a really good stimulant for neurodiverse people, but in general, I found for myself that having high doses of sugar and carbs, it makes me moody. It makes me more sensitive, lack of motivation, hard to get up in the morning, and it kind of like makes everything for me worse.
Mm.
Um, omega 3, 6, 9 uh, supplements. Leon's made a lot of people are having different opinion. For me, there are days it works, there are not. Like there are days where it doesn't. Mixed with coffee, I think works the best. And and then you have vitamin B6 and B3, and that's that. Like this is why, and magnesium, but it's not. And the other thing I realized the other day is creatine.
Okay.
I realized because I was really low on energy and my focus was not great, but I didn't want to take my meds and I didn't want to like overdose with coffee. I felt like I'm gonna have creatine, and and actually it worked. It worked really well. There are scientific, like, I don't know if there are scientific proofs, but there were made some tests about creatine and how it helps your brain to work better, but you have to take it in a higher dose. So on the package they would say like 5 milligrams is the dose. So you have to take between 10 and 20. And for some people this might feel excessive. I usually take 10 and it kind of works really good for me.
Okay.
But this is like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a specialist nutrition or anything. This is my personal routine, or these are my personal choices. I wouldn't advise anyone like you have to follow what I do. This is what I've tried over the years and what works for me and what doesn't.
But even so, some of that information you said is fascinating. Um, even what's interesting as well is the link between mood swings and carbs. I never really put those together, you know. But then, as you were saying it, I was thinking about like the times I've been like down or depressed. Like, was that because I had a pizza, or was that because I was heavy on the carbs? And there could be a link to that. I was wow, that's something in itself
It's
to
a
know.
very toxic cycle because you feel low, you reach out to comfort food, which it
Yeah,
can be in the form of cake, pizza, donuts, like whatever it's your perception for comfort food.
yeah,
And then you overdose yourself with comfort food and it makes you feel better in the moment because it gives you like the high of the dopamine
yeah,
and all
yeah,
that stuff. But then you crash, and then it's the withdrawal effect. And then it makes you even feel even worse than before. And then you want more comfort food. And then you get into this cycle. It's like getting another dose.
wow.
It's like it took me a while to understand like how does that work?
Yeah, yeah. That sounds so obvious, but yeah, I've never really gave it that thought. That sounds so obvious. Yeah, it's like a loop, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
a negative loop. And yeah, you get the and you know what? Just even with other things that you do, certain things that give you that stimuli, that instantaneous high, and then but you have a bad fall after that. It's like yeah, like junk food, like you know, getting a McDonald's or a Burger King. They feel great at the time, but then you get that feeling in your stomach afterwards. But when you have a nice home cooked meal, it's a different, you know, with nutrients and things like this. It's you get that different feeling, that nice full feeling without feeling a bit. Oh, do you know what I mean? So that's fascinating. And you know, was it I've heard was it creatine?
Yeah.
Um, how do you like, what does it what did it do for you exactly? Because I've heard about these, but I've never really looked into it.
So because I'm a woman, I never looked into creatine because usually this is a supplement to help you build muscle mass.
Right. Okay.
And I've always been to the gym. Like since I was 15, I would always go to the gym, but growing muscles were like, it's never my goal. For me, it's like being strong, being fit, being healthy, or maybe lose weight, depends of like what stages of my life I am in. But like never, oh, I want to put like 5 kg in muscles and I want a bigger biceps or something. So creatine was never something that I was interested in.
Yeah.
And then I started learning about the different tests and trials that they were doing with women, and it kind of showed that it's very good for women as well, and it's not. I'm sorry, I'm losing my vocabulary.
No.
So basically, it's not like even if you take creatine as a woman, you're not gonna bulk like the way most people think you would.
Right.
And there's a episode with a lady, unfortunate, I don't remember her name right now. She was a guest in the Diary of a CEO. She was talking about specifically about creatine, and she was specifically saying about having a higher dose of creatine is great for your brain. So the first 5 grams are for your muscles, like whatever energy and whatever your muscle are gonna absorb and burn. But anything after 5 grams, it's
Hmm.
going to your brain.
Right. Okay.
And she was giving example how because she travels a lot, and once she lands in a different country with different time zone, she gets jet lag. But instead of going to sleep or trying to stay awake, forcing herself with coffees and other stimulants, she will take creatine in a higher dose, and that will help her like stay awake, have energy, be focused, and be productive. So I was like, I'm gonna give it a try. I was like, I'm not gonna lose anything, and it only helped me.
Wow.
So yeah, it's not that massive. Like, it's not a miracle. Again, these are supplements. They're not miracles, but some of them actually work.
Right. Right. No, that's good. When when you had your diagnosis, can you was there any sort of difference in the next 2 weeks after that? Did you feel any different? Did you do any different things?
Uh, I was devastated.
Really interesting.
Yeah, I had all the possible emotions that a human being can experience, experiencing at the same time. I had it all in me. I was sad, I was mourning, I was angry, I was everything.
Yeah.
And equally, I was relieved. At that moment, I was relieved that finally it makes sense. Nothing is wrong with me. There is a solution to like all of my problems. But equally, I was so angry. I was like, if I knew before, my life would be so much different. All that money that I've lost, like because an emotion, like emotions based purchases, businesses, travels, like everything.
Mm,
I could have managed it like a lot better or a lot safer, and it just would save me a lot of energy and a lot of money.
mm. So someone going through that, like such as yourself, how what would you say, or how can you suggest people can move, through that after that grieving process? What does it look like to get over that and go forward?
You have to realize that that's done. That's done, and based on the knowledge you had at that moment in your life, this is the decisions that you took. And this is not only for people who are just finding out that they're neurodiverse or whatever. This is for everyone, anyone that might be listening to this. Whatever happened in your past, whatever decisions you made, it doesn't matter right or wrong. It's done. You can't change it. You can try to make it up for it depending of like what we are talking about and make it better for the future, but you can't change it. It's in the past, it's done. This is the emotional maturity you had at that time. This is the knowledge you had at that time, and at that moment, this was what sounds best for you.
Mm,
And thinking, yeah, but if I knew, but you didn't. You know now.
right.
You know now after having different experiences. You know now after gaining knowledge in something or interacting with someone else who had a different input, whatever. you know now. The versions that you had 10 years ago or 5 years ago didn't know.
Mm.
And you can't judge yourself in the past. You learn from your mistakes, you learn from your experience, and you try not to repeat the same mistakes, and you just move forward. Okay, this is what I've done in the past, what we can learn. Let's try and not repeat it.
Yeah, that's brilliant advice, and I think I've tried to adopt that same way of thinking. I have a few people in my circle who don't do that. Well, they do that thing in regards to holding on to things that impacted them negatively, and keep talking about it, keep referring to it, but you don't. You've got to move on from that, man. Someone may have done you wrong, or something may have happened that wasn't good, or, wasn't in your best interest. But I think having going over that and making that your story, I don't think it does any good for you personally.
No, it just puts you in a state of like overthinking and ruminating, and it keeps you in the past, and it doesn't help. Like, I'm not saying that I still have moments when I will be sitting and I was like, what a dumb idea. How could I allow this to happen? Or how could I accept this person in my life? Or how I could not see that? And then I'm like, yeah, but you didn't. And there's no point of like, you're not gonna change anything. You can stay within your emotions. You can grieve, you can be sad, you can feel whatever you feel, but just feel it and move on.
Mm.
Don't stay with it. I had a conversation with someone recently, and they were saying that they just broke up with their partner, and they were sad and they need time to heal. And I was like, yeah, just don't take too long. And they were like, but what do you mean? It's like it's not something that you can control. And I was like, actually, you can. It's like it's a decision. Like you can allow yourself like a month or 2 or 3 months to be sad, to be grieving over a future that will never happen anymore. But at some point, you have to be okay. That's enough. Like that's enough. We know now that this is not happening, and this person is no longer in our life, so we need to move on. I know it sounds harsh. I know it sounds like really blunt and harsh, but in reality, it's like you make a decision. I
That is
spend enough
fascinating.
energy on
So,
this.
so wait, I just want to get into that's quite fascinating. So, do you? Let's say you give yourself a month. Are you saying that you still have the feelings of grief, or don't you have the feelings of grief of that relationship? But it's a thing of you have the feelings, but you're just moving on anyway. You're doing what you need to do. With those still there's feelings there, because I think it's hard to shut it off.
It's not about shutting off. I think this is my personal experience, but um, I think the problem with a lot of people is that they're trying to suppress their feelings rather than work with their feelings. So when I'm saying like you give yourself a month, within this month, think about what happened. Cry, journal, scream, go to a like rage room or whatever you need to do. You stay and acknowledge your emotions. Acknowledge what you feel. Acknowledge like what were the things that made you upset, the things that led to the like in this the example, what led to the breakup. What was your part in it? What was their part in it? Why this didn't work out? It's kind of like a reality check of this happened and then this happened and then this happened and this is why this cannot work. And it's kind of like going through the 5 stages of grief
Yeah,
and just go with it. And at the end is the acceptance. And once you've gone through all this and you accepted the reality of this is your new reality, you get up and move.
right.
Does
That's
that make sense? It's
no,
like,
that's a really grown up way of dealing with it. Yeah, yeah. That's I used to deal with it wrongly. I used to think. okay, I'm grieving, so let me go to another relationship as quick as I can to get over it. And that was never good. It
Yeah.
never worked out. But then what would I do later on for me? What would work for me is just realizing that person who you thought was so and so, greatest, whatever, you fell in love with that person, but that image, but the person that he's really with wasn't that person. It wasn't that image. So you've got to realize the thing that you put in your brain, this person, this figure that you put in the brain, isn't that, man. And it's getting over that and realizing, come to realization that world that you created, it wasn't the correct world. And it's like dealing with that. And yeah, like you said, facing your emotions. I think what I was doing before is hiding from them. But I think the best thing to do, it hurts. This is a hurtful thing. It's a hurtful process. It's not easy. But I think when you face it and deal with all the emotions, like you were saying, great advice, a panic, like, go into deal with the anger, deal with the emotions, but deal with it. And I think the sooner you do that, the faster you get out of that space. Yeah, in my personal opinion. But yeah, you've eloquently put that so well.
I used to have like similar behavior when if something doesn't go the way I want it, it doesn't matter if it's a relationship, work related, whatever. I would start seek comfort from something else, and it can be in various different shapes. Again, it can be food, it can be attention from someone else, it can be partying, alcohol, whatever, name it. Like everyone has a different vice, everyone has a different form of comfort. And I just started noticing my own patterns. And I was like, oh, you're reaching out to this person, not because you want to be with them or you want to see them or you care about them. It's because they make you feel validated or they make you feel like in a certain way. And because you're hurt or whatever it's happening with me right now, I just need that. And I was like, that's not acceptable. And it's a lot of like check in with you, like within yourself, knowing your patterns, your behavior, what triggers you, and why you do the stuff that you do. The other day, I found myself doom scrolling for hours on my phone, and then I didn't realize it. Like,
Yeah,
and I was like, wait a minute, I've been on my phone for 3 hours.
yeah,
And I was like, what? What? No. I was like, no. And I was like, okay, something is not right. Something is bothering me. Something is stressing me out. I need to figure out what it is. And then I had a talk with like a quick chat with a friend, and we were talking about other stuff. And then this came out, and she was like, "Well, what's triggering you? What's happening right now that is triggering you?" And I was like, "I don't know. I can't figure it out." And then I came to my office room and I was looking at my board and I was like, oh, I know what it is. I don't have a plan. I'm currently like working on a few projects, but I don't have a structured plan of what's my next step, what's my goal, and all that stuff. And this is stressing me out because I don't have a clear vision of where I'm going. I had for the last month, and the last month agenda is completed. That's done. But now it's the new month. And I haven't sat down and thought about it, like what's next and what's happening, what are my goals, what we're aiming for. And I was like, oh, I see now. And once you know that, it kind of changes you a bit. It changes your way of thinking. Sometimes it can be really exhausting of being so self-aware and seeing other people are not. It's kind of like you regulate yourself, but people are not regulating themselves. But yeah,
interesting. I just want to touch on something you mentioned earlier about ADHD, and girls and women. So it's usually, in mainstream, it's usually associated with hyperactive young boys. But how does that stereotype affect women and girls who are struggling but not being seen with ADHD, in your opinion?
I'm gonna talk solely like about my experience. Um, I know that when I was a kid, I was hyperactive. I was very energetic, very hyperactive, very loud. I always wanted to play with the boys because girls were not exciting. Girls were not doing anything exciting. Girls were playing with dolls and cooking, and I was like, that's not my thing. I want to pretend that we have guns and we run and we hide and we climb the trees. And in the kindergarten, I was always like in the breaks, like when, when they let you play out in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
playground, I will be always with my head down, hanging from somewhere or climbing something high, and I was always try to be like on the highest point or do something crazy or do flips or anything like that. And I always cause problems. So I would be always the one who is shouted at. And that kind of, with time, it changes you. Because when you've been shouted like over and over and over and over and over again, you start to become quiet. You try to behave. You try to do the things that you're expected to, and this will always cause problems because you can suppress yourself to a certain point, but you can't change your whole nature. You can't change your whole personality. And in girls, in my case, it's just it projected in the hobbies that I have, the activities that I will choose. I will be into cars, I will be into martial arts, I will be in the gym, and I will be doing all that stuff that are not typical for girls. And this kind of causes a problem because you're different. You're too ambitious, you're different. These are boy stuff, these are men stuff, these are not hobbies for a lady. And it hurts. It kind of hurts. And you try to be quiet and you try to behave. And in certain environments, you kind of mask in order to survive, especially in the workplaces. You just keep your head down, be quiet, don't speak up. And it just, I don't know, it messes with your head. It creates this internal chaos because you have this energy in you, but you cannot let it out. And you like this constant suppression, it drives you mad. And if you're not going to the gym, if you don't have like an active hobby where you take the energy out, I think it leads to depression and anxiety, fidgeting, but not in the way of like I would have my stress ball or I will be picking my hair. A lot of girls I've noticed like they will start pinching themselves or like damage the skin around their nails, or they will like chop their nails, bite their nails. I mean, I'm not saying not typical for boys as well, but I'm just saying it's more observed within women, and I can see it with like my neurodivergent female friends. And it's very funny when we get together. It's like we kind of we share the same hobbies or similar hobbies, similar interests, and they're not the typical like female choices. I'm not. I don't want to like divide gender, but I'm not. I'm saying that we're not into makeup and nails. We're into carpentry and prop making and making weapons and all all that stuff that are not like the typical woman role.
right.
So it kind of, I don't know, it's difficult. It it's it stresses you a lot. It kind of forces you to hide, and I feel like I want to say it's very damaging because
Yeah.
you cannot fulfill your full potential. You're constantly hiding parts of yourself,
Mm.
and I don't know, it's sad.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think is the mental health, and the costs of masking and hiding yourself in the long run?
Depression, suicide, and I know a lot of people are avoiding the topic, but not everyone has the resilience or the mental strength or the emotional maturity to deal with these emotions. Not everyone has the capacity and understanding to reach out for help. And masking in general, I just feel like it affects entirely negatively. Not only neurodivergent people, like everyone.
You're an entrepreneur, and the studies have shown that many neurodivergent individuals are drawn to into entrepreneurship. It's easy to say. Yeah. So why do you do that? And if so, why do you think that is? Why do you think a lot of neurodivergent people are drawn to that, to business?
Because first of all, we have many great ideas. We just see something, we see a problem, and instantly we can find a solution. And suddenly we think that this is a great idea, this is a great business idea, we can turn this into business. And then 4 hours later, you have a business plan with with 5 years in planning, and how we're gonna execute the digital marketing campaign, and how we're gonna produce all this, and who we can reach out as partners.
Yeah.
I think this is one thing. We just have a lot of ideas, and many of them are really great. Unfortunately, we don't tend to execute them in a timely manner.
Mm.
That makes them really bad decisions. But in general, entrepreneurship, it's allowing you to have the freedom of choosing what I'm going to do today.
Mm.
So, for example, yesterday I had a slow morning and I was front of the computer. I had some admin work done, and then I spoke with my family, and then I went to the workshop and I actually had some physical work done. And then I got tired and I came back in and I've done some more admin work. And then I had a break and I would watch like an episode of a TV show. And then I'll be like, okay, I'm done. I can go back to work, and then I'll continue working. So kind of like not having a structure. We need a structure, but we need a structure and a system that works with us. It's not the structure that you would have at work, going from, let's say, nine till five, with a lunch break and doing the same thing over and over and over again. I know for myself it drives me nuts. Even if it's my dream job, it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Just the idea of like not having freedom of managing, when do I need to take a break? When can I have my lunch?
Mm.
There are days when I will go to work and we have a short break at 10. Yeah, but I'm in the middle of something, right? I don't want to stop for having my break, or I'm not that hungry and I want to take my break in an hour. I want to take my break at 11 and then continue working and then have my lunch break at 3 and then continue working, but that's not possible at work. So I have to fit within the schedule, and sometimes, well, I'm not hungry during lunch break. but I have to force myself to eat because if I don't eat now, then I won't have the opportunity to eat later. And
Yeah.
it's kind of frustrating. It's or stopping in the middle of like a process because we have to take our break now because everyone does. And I understand that like if everyone takes their breaks whenever, it will become like this chaotic
Yeah.
environment where you don't know who's where and are they on their break or what's happening here. So everyone needs that structure, but equally for us, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I find that very rigid, that way of doing it. I know, like you said, it's good for structure to let people know where you are, but at the same time, you might not be hungry at 1 o'clock. Or like you said, you might be in the middle of something, and you've got to stop what you're doing, go for your lunch, come back, and it's like, oh, where was I? I was in the flow before. Like, I need to find that
Yeah,
flow again. And yeah, I don't like that. I like to, yeah, that's why I like entrepreneurship, like being in control. Like it can be probably more busier actually on your own business and doing things yourself. You probably work longer hours, I find,
definitely.
but I just like that control that you're doing it. You know, it's down to you doing things on your pace. A lot of the time, sometimes if you've got meetings and client meetings and things like this, and you know you need to do it at a certain time. But yeah, I don't like the rigidness of 12 o'clock has to be lunch break, and you know I don't like it. I never did. I always found that an issue. You know, so you say you know you with your ADHD, you're an entrepreneur. Like the backbone of a business is doing all the admin, invoicing, all of that stuff. Like, and but a lot of ADHD people say that's the difficult part of doing it. That's like being rigid and doing these sort of things. How do you navigate that? How do you do these things? How do you
I
do
still hate
these?
it.
Okay,
I
okay.
still hate it. I don't
What's
think that
the
this will
process?
ever change.
Right. Okay.
I don't even if you're not a neurodiverse person, if you're a neurotypical, I don't know a single person who would say like, "Oh, I love sending emails." Like I love like I know people saying I love to do spreadsheets or Excel or stuff like that, but I don't know anyone who likes to do admin or adult stuff. Like I still hate it. I still struggle, and it's like drains me a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but when I do it, I try to, first of all, I would make a list.
Yeah.
And it's gonna sound really stupid, but I will make a precise list of email this person, reply to this person email, pay this bill, and I will lay out every single admin task that I have to do on a list. And I will usually do it in the morning because this is the time when I have the energy to do it.
Right. Right.
Because if I wait until the afternoon, done, like you can't. After having like a high energy morning of doing something else, you can't make me sit and do admin or send emails. It's like my brain is not braining. I don't have the energy and I can't be bothered. I know it takes 2 minutes, but no, I can't do it. I won't do it, and it's gonna be for next morning or whatever. So I try to like have a list of all the stuff that I have to do, and then I will sit down and while I'm having my coffee, while I'm still like in that flow, that energy that I have in the morning, I will be like, this email is done, this email is done, this email is done, and then I will tick off everything that I have done. And literally, if you like check the time, it takes half an hour.
Right.
And once that's done, in reality, like it takes writing a few emails, paying bills. Sometimes it can take longer if something goes wrong or payment is not going through. It can be frustrating, or something is like the website is not loading properly, whatever. But in general, it's like an hour work. And then when that's done, oh my gosh, the energy you get, it's like you just climbed Everest, although Mount Everest seems like a easier thing to do than sending emails. And it
Yeah.
sounds ridiculous. I can easily go to the gym and spend 3 hours at the gym. run 5K, go for martial arts like on Saturday and spend like half of my day there. And that's easy. That's fine. Like done.
Mm.
Sending emails? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can't. Like it feels like it takes forever and it takes so much energy and so much like cognitive energy and it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
But you do it in the morning, you make a list, the most boring list, send all the emails, and then that's done, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've done it. And you're
Yeah.
so happy about it because you were procrastinating of doing it for a whole month, and now it's done, and it's like, yeah.
How do you go through the list? Do you tick it off once you've done
Yeah,
something?
I either highlight or tick. Like the ticking is not working for me that much because
Okay.
I'm a very visual person.
Right.
So I'm gonna have lists with like the things what I need to do, and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna highlight everything. I
Uh,
found out that I have a few systems of navigating my to-do list, so it's not overwhelming and actually works. So I'm using two at the moment, and it depends on like my schedule and everything. So I would have like the never-ending to-do list. So you can take a notebook, whatever works for you, and then you start writing everything that you need to do. Even the smallest thing, shopping, gym, laundry, pay, pay like this bill, pay whatever. Whatever it comes to your mind, just put it down. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be related logically to the previous task. Just list out all of your tasks, one after another. And then once you're doing them, you just go back, highlight whatever it's done. It's easier for you to see like what's left on the list,
yeah.
and then you don't have to like redo your to-do list and be like, oh, but I have two remaining tasks on this paper and I have to transfer them on this paper, but then I have, it's like, because I'm a paper person. If you're a digital person, it's a lot easier because once you have it on digital, you can move stuff around, you can delete, you can retype. It's easier, but I'm a paper person. So for me, this is like, I have all the tasks in the world written like one after another, and then I can highlight what's done. The other system that I like to use is sticky notes or cards. Like I would have them on my desk and I'll write down like whatever task I have, and then I'll separate them by projects. So I
Right.
don't have like random notes flowing around. I would have like this project. Okay, this note is for this project, so it goes to this pocket. And then I have this note is for this project, and this goes to this pocket. And whenever I'm working on like on a certain project, I will be like, okay, everything is for this project is here. So I'm gonna take all the to-do tasks for this project. I'm gonna lay them out in front of me, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna work on this one, and then I'm gonna work on this one. And then I have a jar with all the finished tasks because I had a problem. I always felt that I'm not doing enough. But when I look the week that's already gone and going through my to-do list, I've done more than enough and more than other people would usually do.
Yeah.
And with my ADHD coach at that time, we spoke about this system. So I would have weekly jars and then I would have like a yearly jar. So for every finished task, I will fold the to-do list and I will put it in the jar so I can visualize how much I've done for the week. And then once the week is done, I will put it in the yearly jar. So I kind of see like how much I accumulated in achievements or whatever you have to put in. So it's very refreshing. It's very easy to like navigate.
That's amazing. And I don't know about you, but when I do my tasks, I get through them. I like to give myself a little treat. But that means playing a game for half an hour or watching an episode of something on Netflix because I've rewarded myself because I've done the task. I've done what I needed to do, and I don't feel guilty for being able to give myself a treat in that regards. Do you do the same, or you like you
I call it reset.
reset? Okay.
Reset because after everyone has a different time frame. So for me, let's say 2 hours working on the computer, then I need to take a break. Or like if it's like heavy cognitive load, like I need to really think about something, I need to figure out something, I'm learning something, 45 minutes, and then I need to take a break. I just need to get up and
Yeah.
remove myself from the computer or
Yeah.
room.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
If it's something like slightly less stressful,
Yeah.
I can be in front of the computer for 2, 3 hours. And then I need to reset. It might be scrolling on my phone, watching TV or something. I need to reset, and then I'm good to go. I'm good to like continue and from whatever I dropped. If I'm in the workshop between 2 and 4 hours of physical labor, and then I need to sit for a coffee break, like half an hour, just to literally reset my brain,
Right.
get some energy, and then I can continue for another 4 hours. And then I can reset, and then I can continue for another 4 hours. It's like knowing your patterns. When do you need to take a break and what kind of break? It's just to reset your brain. It makes the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. That's brilliant. Just a couple more questions and I'll let you go. So, on the mentoring side,
Yeah.
how do you tailor your approach to each individual client, knowing that, no two people are the same? What's your method for that?
You you observe. First of all, you need to know what are they struggling with. So before starting with someone, you would always ask them what are the areas they want to improve, what are the things they want to focus.
Mm.
And it's good to keep in mind that you can't work on five different things at the same time, because then it's gonna be overwhelming and overstimulating for them, and it's not gonna have the effect that you might be hoping for. The outcome, it's not gonna be that great. So you kind of like, once you know what are their struggles, because every person is different, and they will come to you with different problem. For some people, it might be like, I'm just trying to get back uh, going to the gym, or I want to stop doom scrolling and I want to be more active. I want to like work my time management. I want to learn how to schedule my week better, how to emotionally regulate, how not like I'm too sensitive and I'm trying to navigate this within my work. Everyone will have a different problem. So you kind of listen to, and it's not about solving their problem for them. It's more about listen to what they have to say, give them the space to share, to feel safe, and help them to get to know themselves and find a solution for themselves. This might not make sense, but it's not just dumping. Oh, we have this trick, and we're gonna try this system this week, and you do that, but this is not the main goal. Like everyone can tell you, oh yeah, you have to start journaling and you should go to the gym 3 times a week, and then you should clean your diet and you should stop doom scrolling, and then you should try the Pomodoro method, and everything's gonna be fine. Off you go. With the same effect, I can give you like 3 books. You can read them. They will tell you exactly the same stuff, and at the end, it's not gonna do anything. It's just work with them. Find what's the problem, see what they want to work on, and try to figure out what's the best way for them. Some people respond differently. Like for some clients, one thing might work, but definitely it's not going to work for someone else.
Mm, brilliant. So where can people find you, and how can they work with you?
So people can visit my website, ninefoldcoaching.com. They're more than welcome to book a discovery call, which is free for 15 minutes, and I have another 30-minute session. If they want to get to know me first, talk to me first, see if we're a good fit, and if I'm actually capable to help them, because this is two-way street. It's not only like
Yeah.
you like me, and if I don't like you or if I don't think that I'm capable to help you, I'm gonna take you as a client anyway. It's not. I will listen to you, and if I decide that I'm not capable to solve your problems, or I don't have the techniques, or if I have a slightest doubt that I'm not the right fit for you, I'm just gonna let you know. And I'm just gonna suggest that you can like look for someone else that it's more competent within your struggles, or it's better for your like it can help you.
Oh, but this has been a real one. Wow, there's so much information there, so much advice, good advice as well. So yeah, thank you so much for that. Thank you for
Thanks
coming
for
on.
having me.
No, no, it's been wonderful. Thank you for sharing your story. I think a lot of people are going to take something from this, and I think a few people need to hear this as well. Um, Before I let you go, last question. Last
Yes.
question. If you could change one thing about society that that understands and supports neurodivergent people, what would that be?
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
Before I throw you in the deep end with that one,
Yeah, give me a second.
take your time.
I feel like because neurodiverse people lost their not their purpose, but the society works in a different way now. Like, think about in the past, we were the hunters, we were the warriors, and nowadays society don't need us anymore, not in the way that they needed us in the past.
Yeah,
So I think they should appreciate us more and give us the support and the space to develop our full potential.
yeah,
I might be wrong, but I really admire Bruce Lee, and I might be wrong. There's just part of me that believes that he might be also neurodiverse based on like the work he's done and all the different fields that he tapped in, and he was always good. And he achieved this tremendous like martial arts techniques, and I think he was extremely strong and capable. But he had a very good support system around him. So I feel like for neurodiverse people, we need that support system so we can thrive. I know a lot of people are saying that neurodiverse people get along with other neurodiverse people, and that's true. Like we kind of like attract each other. But I believe, like unpopular opinion, I think a neurodiverse person has to be surrounded with a neurotypical people who wants to support them so they can reveal their full potential and they can grow.
that's interesting. That's what a wonderful answer, because I thought this the same thing when I was at corporations working with certain people in different companies, and there'd be neurodiverse people there, and they reach from A to Z differently. They take different routes to get to solve the problem, but there was that lack of understanding. So the neurotypical people didn't understand the methods, these individuals are using. So I think it goes back to what you're saying about that understanding of how the mind works and letting it do its thing to achieve what it needs to achieve, that mind, because it doesn't work typically like every other mind. So I think, yeah, the more understanding, you can get wonderful things just with the understanding of knowing, okay, they're not going to go from A, B, C, D. Like maybe they may go from A to J and then J to, it's a different method. But yes, I think the understanding is paramount.
There was a lady, she was also neurodiverse. She was a guest on a podcast. And what she said really, really stayed with me. She was like, my husband is neurotypical. But because of him, because he created the safe space I needed for, she was like, I finished two of my books. I now have a thriving business. I'm starting another business. And I have this, and that, and I'm thriving. But it's only because him and because he provided like the quiet space that I needed. He would handle the calls, he would handle the admin, he would handle like facing the customers, and I will be at the back end and I will be like, this is the structure, this is the next step, this is what needs to happen. I'm gonna do like this amount of work, I'm gonna finish the books, I'm gonna start up the business. And she was like, only because of that, we have what we have.
Wow. That support, that support. For the neurotypical person, I haven't heard that viewpoint before, but that's quite interesting. That
Yeah.
that support from a neurotypical person to give you the reins of that space to be able to do these business ideas. I guess actually I say that, but yeah, I guess it kind of relates to what I was saying in the corporate world, with neurotypical people there allowing neurodiverse people to do what they need to do. I guess it's the same way of thinking. So yeah, no, brilliant answer there, brilliant. So yeah, that's it, people. That's a Shine podcast. If this resonated with you in some way, please share with someone who needs it, who you think would benefit from it. Links are in the bio. And yeah, see you again next time.